Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Travel with Rick Steves Europe. My name is Julianne Worden, and I will be your moderator this evening as we travel along with Rick. Tonight is an extra special episode as we have both the travel guru and the travel goddess traveling along with us as we visit beautiful Vienna. And now, without further ado, I will turn things over to Rick Steves, who will be one of our tour guides this evening. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Julianne. Thank you for the introduction. And I'm so excited about what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be traveling to Vienna. I'm already halfway there. And I want to remind you, I look forward to this so much. I need to travel and I need to share my enthusiasm for travel. And this last year, I've not been able to travel, but I've been able to share my passion for travel thanks to, in part, to Monday Night Travel. And this is our chance every week to get together and to celebrate, to enthuse, to teach, to inspire, to just have fun. It's our Monday Night Travel. And today we're joined by a wonderful, wonderful guest, and we're going to go together to Vienna. And I just feel in Vienna, there's a word Gemütlichkeit. It's sort of a conviviality. It's a special coziness. It's like I just invited 4,000 people into my living room for a beautiful show in Vienna, and we're going to have fun together. So make yourself at home. The bathroom's just over there. There's ping pong downstairs. You can hang your coats over in the other room. And we're going to be eating and drinking and traveling. And we're going to be joining up with Samantha Brown. And before we introduce Samantha, I would like to just take you for just a moment to Los Angeles. I was there just, less than 2 years ago with Samantha. And we're walking down the street at a travel show, as we do after working all day at the travel show, looking for a place to find dinner. And to be honest, we're lost for a moment in Los Angeles. And I thought, I'm going to grab this moment, me and Samantha lost in LA, and I'll do my little selfie thing with my long arm and we'll capture the moment. Join me with Samantha in Los Angeles, United States of America. Hey, I'm Rick Steves, and you know who this is.
Hi, I'm Samantha Brown.
And we're lost in Los Angeles here, aren't we, Sam?
Totally lost. How many travel experts does it take to find your way through Los Angeles downtown?
Well, if we're lost, it takes a couple. Hey, but I'm just excited about Sam's new series, Places to Love. Where are you going on your new series?
Oh my goodness. Well, we're done shooting season 3, and right now we're shooting season 4, and we just got back from Quebec City during Winterfest.
Quebec City, that's the closest thing to Europe in this hemisphere, I think.
That's so true. Yeah, it's a European city in North America.
And I'm so happy that Sam is in public broadcasting on PBS, or not PBS actually, APT, but it's public television.
Public television is the way to go.
Great audience. You're on season 4.
Going on season 4
and
now,
we just got back from the Alps. We're heading to Poland, we're heading to Iceland, and there's a lot of travel to enjoy. And we're just celebrating travel. You know, Sam, you seem so up and just in a good mood when you're making your show. Mm-hmm. What is it about travel? What is the essence of good travel that makes this work so much fun?
Just like reaching out to people and starting conversations and meeting them, and it's not that hard. It's a hello, it's hi, pretty top, or it's just something simple.
It's the people.
It really is the people.
And when you get out, you gain an appreciation of this world's filled with beautiful people.
Such beautiful people. Everyone is so kind. I think that's something that we were talking about that maybe people don't realize is how just kind and lovely everyone is around the world.
Maybe if everybody traveled, the world would be more aware of that.
Maybe we could find our way to our restaurant in Los Angeles. We could get the message out even further.
Okay, let's find this restaurant in LA.
Where are we?
Where are we? Well, we are together. Oh, wait a minute here. Where are we? There we go. Where are we? We are in, Sam's in New York and I'm in Seattle, but we are all together now. And Samantha, it's great to have you here.
It's great to be here with you on your Monday night travel show. I mean, it really is a way to enthuse. And I'm so glad you brought me to help enthuse. I love that verb.
Enthuse, it's a good word. Hey, I was just enthusing about your series, and I keep thinking of it new because I've known you for a couple of decades of doing shows, but it's no longer new. It's old news that you are now part of public television and you're into your 4th season. What's new with Places to Love?
Oh, well, we were able to actually shoot a season 4 this year during the pandemic. When I saw you, when that video was shot, we had just come back from Quebec City. So that was last February. We were there during Winter Carnival. Wow, what a time it's been. Yes. We were all set to go to Austria, back to Austria, as well as London. And of course, everything was put on hold, but we have 5 episodes airing first weekend of April. Check your local listings, public television. So we're
That's
really
great.
excited about a season we never thought would happen.
We've got some good travel on public TV. It's you, me, and lots more good producers, and people can go to public television to just explore the world. Hey, speaking of travel, a good part of travel is eating and drinking. And I'm going to be munching and drinking, and you're going to be doing the same thing. What's on your plate tonight?
Oh boy. Well, I've kind of dug in already to my plate, Rick, if I'm going to be really honest with you, but I've got a lovely selection of half-eaten ham. I've got a few pretzel remnants left, but I also have my favorite dishes in Vienna that I would enjoy in the beer halls, beer, what do you call it? See, I've already been drinking.
Those wine gardens. Yeah, well,
The wine gardens.
we should let people know that we are well into this tonight. So we've eaten half of our props, and when you're making TV, it's one of the things you learn early on. Don't eat the props, right?
Yeah, what is it? I'm 2 sheets to the wind. Maybe one and a half.
We're just
I'm
2
not
sheets to the
quite
wind.
3. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but you got some Vienna food there, and I've got some Vienna food. I was just going to munch general stuff, but when I knew you were going to go shopping for Vienna food, I thought I would do that. There we go. Hey, we have a buffet, and you've got your cucumber salad there.
Cucumber
That's delightful.
salad. I've got the sauerkraut, which I'm a huge sauerkraut fan. Do you like sauerkraut?
You know, if you've always hated sauerkraut, you got to go to Austria or Germany before you condemn it, because when you eat it there, it's great. It's great. I force it on the people who take my tours, by the way. And you've got your ham, which we're going to see in your show. I've got my weenies, and the word weenie. The word weenie comes from Vienna. Wieners, they're Wieners. The people who live there, it's Wien in German. So their little hot sausages are Wieners, and we say wieners. And I've got 3 different weenies here, and it's a reminder of that. Leave it to me to splice in some history, but it's the Habsburgs, 600 years of the Habsburgs. And, you know, when the Habsburgs were ruling the Austrian Empire, it was the German-speaking people were in the minority. And you had people from Poland, and that's the kielbasa. You had people from Hungary, and that's with the spicy cayenne and paprika and so on, Hungarian spicy cuisine. And then you got your bratwurst, which is the good German sausage. But the funny thing is, in Vienna, they call a Wiener a Frankfurter, from the city of Frankfurt, where they have the similar things. And in Frankfurt, they call it a Wiener. And then here in the United States, we call it wieners too. But I got my sauerkraut, and I've got my potatoes, which you're sure to see. And I've also I get special treatment to my mustard and my horseradish because, oh baby, that horseradish, have you had that in your travels? It's just.
Yeah, I mean, my nasal passages are clearing as you said that. And I know that mustard, I have that mustard too. Oh, so good. I mean, yeah, exactly.
I just did this, and I'm in Vienna. You know, I don't know a lot of German language, but I know some key words: scharf, senf, and mittelsenf.
Oh.
So let's see, sharp is, no, süß. Yeah, süß is sweet. Scharf is sharp, and senf is mustard. So this is going to be scharf mustard. It's very, very spicy, along with the horseradish sauce. And then we've got our wine. What wine are you drinking today?
Well, this is my favorite wine of all time. It's not just that we're doing a show about Vienna, but the Gruner Veltliner. I have been drinking this for a long time. This one's from the Wachau region, right along the Danube, which is known for this grape. And I'm just going to top mine off because it's just a fantastic white wine, especially as we're going into spring.
And you know,
you have some too?
I'm drinking a wine called Gruner Veltliner, just like you. Okay.
Well, all right.
All right. And, you know, there we go, Gruner Veltliner. And you don't drink this old, you drink it soon. So this is ready to be had. And a third of all the vineyards in Vienna, in Austria, are this grape, this Gruner Veltliner. Remember, that's a pronunciation thing. If you got an I, it's generally pronounced E. If you got an E, it's I. So Veltliner, right? From your bartending days, you knew how to pronounce that?
Yes, I did. I was a waiter in New York City for 8 years. And once I knew how to pronounce Gruner Veltliner, like I was a girl from New Hampshire. I was not sophisticated at all. I thought, whoa, nothing's going to stop me now. And here I have a show.
That's sophistication plus when you can pronounce Gruner Veltliner. Well, here's even more sophistication. I want to take people back to a little bit of us on the streets of Los Angeles here at the travel show, hanging out after a long day of work of enthusing people to travel. Let's see what we're doing here. Oh, this is our
Oh, we're drinking.
Travel show.
We have, yes, here in Los Angeles.
And it's hard work, and they fly us in so we can gather a bunch of people and share why we love travel.
We do big speeches in front of big crowds, and then we talk to people after.
And we like it.
I love it.
We have a mission.
Yeah, we do.
What's your mission?
My mission is to help people travel more and to have better travel experiences.
To be comfortable.
To be comfortable, and but to be comfortable being out of your comfort zone, I guess.
That's part of travel.
It's okay to feel like, I still feel uncomfortable when I travel. I still feel like, ooh, is this the right thing to do? And then you just go for it.
That's what I love about your show is it's just like, we can all do this. It's not rocket science. You don't need a degree.
No, not at all.
And that's kind of what we'd like to say right now is if you want to get friendly with the world, here's to travel.
Absolutely. And I want to know right from you, right from now, you right now, who's wearing the scarf better?
I was going to talk about that. This is my look, the scarf.
I totally stole your look. Who wore it best?
We both wear a scarf. Really nice. Because we want to say, I want to say happy travels. What do you want to say?
Oh my gosh, I don't have a sign off like you.
I'm glad I've got a sign up. Well, let's figure out a sign up for Sam Brown and your new show.
Okay, gosh.
I love your show.
Thank you very much.
Places to Love, right?
Places to Love.
Places to Love and Rick Steves Europe. Hey, the world's our friend. Let's get out there and get to know it, okay? Happy travels. Thanks, Sam. But get that scarf off. This is my look. Oh, no. Oh.
So
Clearly, we have no rapport.
happy travels. You know, that's not even my current sign off. That was my sign off in the 90s when I was with a different production company and they wouldn't let me use it for future shows. So now I say, what do I say? Keep on traveling. Yeah, of course I say keep on traveling.
Oh, okay.
Happy travels is nice. But you know,
Wow, you've had two sign-offs.
I've
That's
had
pretty
two
amazing.
sign. You got to catch up, kid. But I noticed when we were on the street there, I put on my dress scarf. I don't often wear my dress scarf. This is the fancy colored one. Normally,
It really ties in your blue shirt.
this is my work scarf here, and that's what I travel with. And this is my blankie. I never wore a scarf until I was well beyond my backpacker days, and I just love traveling with a scarf. Hey, we've got another little bit of fun we had, and this was just. This is actually in Salt Lake City. We're at a convention where Sam and I go to meet all the programmers in public television who are wondering who's got travel shows to run on the different TV shows. And we get to talk to them and get them up to date. And then we just sort of get together and have a kind of a pillow fight. Here we go.
This was our serious side.
Ooh.
Look at your anger.
Look at your aggressiveness. You are.
I mean,
Here I am.
Can you imagine Rick Steves angry? It's like, there it is. Oh.
Can you imagine being hit by a mean-spirited pillow by Samantha Brown? Oh my!
It did have a high luft.
I'm already giving up. I'm down on the floor. I'm just saying enough. Please don't hurt me, Ms. Brown. And you hit again. Look at the joy in your face.
I just love the reactions of everyone there thinking that we were going to be two very serious people. The exact opposite happened.
There you go.
You know,
Okay.
This wasn't Masterpiece Theater. Oh, but I'm not done. This is what I love about this.
See, I've lost. I thought it was over, but no,
No.
it's not over.
Nope, just one last
Here we go.
throw pillow. Oh.
And then look at the victory here. Look at the jubilation. Look at the dominance. Watch this.
Yep,
Oh, there you go.
exactly.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I still enjoy going to conventions with you. Hey, Samantha, set up. We're going to go to Vienna right now, and
Yeah.
set up the show. What was your angle on Vienna that we're going to see in the next half hour here?
Well, I think Vienna is one of those world capital cities that everyone knows the greatest hits, but we wanted to take you beyond those and really explore what is more of a relaxed city, filled with easygoing and really friendly people. And cities don't get that reputation to begin with, especially one in Austria. And we wanted to show you just how comfortable the city was.
That's a good point. And I do want to point out that even in your montage, you will see Samantha Brown wearing 5 different outfits. And
Exactly. Yeah.
in my
You've had
montage,
one for the 20 years you've, 30 years you've been on television, right? It's
I
like
had one for the
khakis.
first 10 years. Now I have one per show. But here we're going to see a beautiful display of wardrobe diversity.
Keep on traveling.
I'm in a city that simply stuns in its beauty, a place that is a rich, physical expression of history and tradition, and yet at its heart, one of comfort, friendliness, and ease. It's a city where wine is enjoyed and grown, where serious music is seriously playful. And what is unknown and mostly unseen, remarkable. Wow. It's the capital of not just a country, but once an entire empire. I'm in Vienna, Austria. I'm Samantha Brown, and I've traveled all over this world. And I'm always looking to find the destinations, the experiences, and most importantly, the people who make us feel like we're really a part of a place. That's why I have a love of travel and why these are my places to love. The very first thing to do in Vienna is head to the Naschmarkt. Locals know to head there early.
I've ordered you coffee already.
Perfect. Because tourists are still enjoying breakfast in their hotels.
I want to point out, Sam has made a very good point there, haven't you, Sam? I caught you with your mouth full. Don't always have breakfast in the hotel. That's convenient. Yeah. That's kind of the default. But if ever you venture out, go to the market, have breakfast there with the locals.
Yeah. Actually, one of my top travel tips is to create a ritual wherever you are. And for me, it's always the cup of coffee I'm going to begin my day at. And it's usually a local cafe right around where my hotel is. But I don't have coffee in my hotel because that's where all the travelers are. I go to where the locals are and the same place every day, feel the ebb and flow of a place better, get to know the neighborhood, and just kind of branch out. So what I'm doing right there is something that I do all the time.
You feel the energy of the 9 to 5 crowd because a lot of Europeans grab a coffee and a roll on the way, and it works well, and it's worth checking out.
I'm Bianca Gusenbauer-Hoppe, and I'm a culinary host and food entertainer in Vienna. We are a small country, but we have big flavors, and we have really the best produce that you can taste.
And tasting is what the Naschmarkt is all about. Nasch meaning nosh. And some of it is even free nosh.
All right, hey, I will. Dankeschön. It's a typical sausage you would use also for dinner.
Oh, okay. I know this is the oldest market in Vienna, but how big is it? It feels like it stretches on forever.
Let's say 3 blocks.
3 blocks?
Approximately, yeah.
Right.
And we are on the lane for the restaurants, and then there's a second lane for the shops. So
Bianca takes me to her favorite cheese shop, where they are not in any way stingy with their samples either.
So this one is the goat's cheese.
You can see the color, so goat is the palest.
Can I try this cheese now?
Yeah,
so this
sure.
is the string cheese.
Yeah.
You're not shy, Sam. You go right in there and grab those samples.
I love cheese. You can't, don't put anything in front of me and cheese because I'll just knock that down without a throw pillow.
that Naschmarkt is filled with little tasty morsels.
Oh. Although it's goat's milk, it's not too goaty and not too sharp, and it was really
Very nice.
I'm picking up that cheese is very important to Austria.
Yes, and it's all handcrafted, or mostly, and it's sometimes more expensive than meats. It's not cheap. It's you really must pay for the handcraft and the quality, but it's worthwhile. What we will do now is having kind of a very typical ham from Vienna. And here we eat a hot lunch and a cold dinner.
A cold dinner?
Yeah, and it's very unique because it's really Viennese. It's even produced in Vienna. It's a boiled ham.
Okay.
It's not smoked. And then he slices the ham like prosciutto.
Special knife?
Yes, you must be very skilled because you want to have a thin layer.
So thin.
You usually eat it also with a Kaiser roll.
Yeah.
And it's just with salt, no seasonings or anything.
So good. Very subtle. Not really salty, just that subtle ham taste.
I'm a little bit addicted to that, I must say. It's dangerous to buy.
The Naschmarkt really shows the multiculturalism that exists here, which goes back to a time when this was an empire's capital, and people from all over the world came here to the great city of Vienna.
Boy, we got to remind people that you can get too hung up on museums and churches and galleries, but there's a huge advantage and importance of just walking through the streets and knowing where to walk. And the city market, I can think of, well, every city's got a market like this in my experience. Check it out. That's where the action is. And as Sam is just saying, there's full of samples. There's all the diversity in that society, plenty of experiences. It's free. And you can do it in the morning before you start your sightseeing.
Mhm.
There are moments in Vienna where it really hits you, the amount of wealth and power the Habsburgs had. And this is one of the biggest moments. Oh, wow.
It doesn't matter how often you're here. I mean, I've been working here for 5 years already, and it's still every time a big impression.
So right now we are actually in a room of the Hofburg Palace, which is the Habsburgs' home, correct?
They lived here, and they said this is for the public. You know, they are allowed to come into the library, but of course only people who could read and write. And there was only 15% of the population, 10 to 15% of the population.
But still, that is incredible.
The emperor actually said publico commodo, for the common public. So
And he's inviting them into his own home.
this is the biggest library in the whole of Austria. We have more than 12 million objects in the library, and this is the Baroque collection. We have 200,000 objects we have here in this collection only.
I'm looking at just stacks and stacks of books, and they start with the big books that are like up to my hip, and then it goes all the way up to tiny, tiny, tiny little books.
I'm so happy you noticed this, because normally in every library, in every bookstore, the books are organized by topic, right?
Sure.
But here the books.
So Samantha, I got to ask you, because this conversation is so intimate. You know, you're right there, all of us viewers. How are you doing? This is just kind of insider talk. How are you doing the sound right now? Do you have wireless mics hidden under your clothing?
Yeah, absolutely. Both of us are mic'd, and they're under the clothes, and they're very good mics. And one thing about when you have something that's mic'd is that it can rub against the clothing. Like we have to, you know, a lot of time, like a good 20 minutes. I wouldn't say that long, but like it could be long just to kind of figure out where the mic should go. What fabric is she wearing? Because we haven't told her what to wear. What am I wearing? So, but getting the sound right in any sort of production is really tough. And we've got really great people who do that well.
Do you have a sound man actually?
Absolutely, a sound engineer, and he's fantastic.
That's great.
But it's a tough job, a very tough job.
Yeah, we don't have a sound man. Our cameraman does the sound responsibilities, but he's wearing his headphones. And boy, you're right. If you have the wrong kind of shirt, you hear that fabric noise, and it's just tough. So, but it's good that you actually hide the mics. You don't see them. Some people put them outside. Also, I was wondering, this is such a sort of a very delightful, natural conversation. When you go into a bit like this, do you have an agenda? Do you know what you want to cover, or do you just kind of let it roll and enjoy the conversation and then cut it together when you get home?
I certainly do the research and know a few questions that I want to ask, especially that introduction question, right? But then we make sure we have enough time with, say, Hannah, we were with her for 2 hours. So there's no rush. So there's the ability to just kind of like a fine wine. The conversation opens up. In the beginning, it's a little stiff. She doesn't know the cameras. I don't know where the cameras are going. There's people. There's a lot we're taking in, trying to have a more casual conversation. So we actually build that into the production, the time of letting people relax. And it really pays off.
Because I've had some guides who I've worked with individually with our tour groups or whatever, who I think they're going to be great, and they just are stiff on camera, and it just doesn't work. They freeze up. And other people who I didn't have high expectations, they just are so natural on camera.
Exactly.
One thing I found is I like to keep a low profile. I mean, there's a woman behind you there, and she's just wandering by, and she's probably not even noticing you guys. Whenever we have to flip out the reflector to bounce light on my face, all of a sudden people see that and they go, oh, it's a movie production. And they gather around when you bring out that big white reflector, like the size of a hula hoop, you know, or if you have a boom mic over you, then you get good sound, but it attracts people like moths to a lamp at night.
Yeah, I mean, it's that fine line we walk all the time of having enough people to actually record what's happening and do it professionally, but also assimilate and not affect the energy you're actually trying to show, right? We have a way of changing the energy in a room if we're too many people. And
Oh, yeah.
so you're always trying to figure out what that is. And luckily what we'll have is maybe we'll have someone from the library who you don't see off camera, just say, just don't look at the camera, just keep walking, don't look. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you're we love it. We actually love when people walk right in front of us. It's wonderful. Just don't stop and look at the camera, because most people go, oh, I'm sorry. And now,
Or they bend down and you watch them scrunch down.
Exactly.
And
Can't use that either. Thanks.
It's great.
So all it is just be natural, And so we have people positioned on behind us, most likely, just to say, just keep walking. If you could please not look at the camera, we'd really appreciate it. So
it is nice to get real people in there not looking at the camera.
Organized by size. Yes. Because in the 18th century, they didn't want to carry the big books up, right? It's for practical reasons.
What is the theme of the books? Is there a theme of all the books?
We have serious books, biology books, medicine, but we have also books of the 17th century, serious biology books about dragons, about the anatomy of dragons, for example.
You are called the National Library. Is this still a library in that sense?
Yes, we have the main task is to be an archive. We have to make sure that everything that we have lives forever. But the second task is to make it public. So every member of the National Library, which everybody can order the books online. Our catalog is online nowadays. 1.5 hours after you order the books, they're ready to read in the reading room.
Okay. How long can you take one of these books out?
If you can only read them in the library, yes. So you cannot.
I didn't think you could leave with one of these books. So Charles VI said this is a public library. When did this truly become a public library, open to all the residents?
His daughter, Maria Theresa, she said every child from the 6th year has to go to school from all the corners of the empire. So that's also the reason, because of his daughter, that we have here German-Croatian books, like German-Hungarian books, German-Slovenian.
Because they were all a part of the empire at
Exactly.
that point. In this extravagant space, are there little nooks and crannies that no one knows about here?
Well, we have 200,000 books, but we only see 150,000. There is a part that is hidden.
Oh my goodness. Great sound. Oh, wow. These little hidden chambers.
Yes, they didn't use it to hide the books, actually. At that time, in the 18th century, no one was allowed to bring a candle or something like that because it's dangerous. So they would sit beside the window. It was a little bit warmer and it was lighter.
Of course, just like today, we like to curl up in a nice little nook and read a book.
They were thinking practical. That's true, yes.
Practical is not usually a word used to describe the Habsburgs' lifestyle, and though their 650-year reign ended in 1918, many family businesses like Jarosinski and Vogon for cutlery and A.E. Kirchhardt for fine jewelry both serve the Habsburgs and continue to create one-of-a-kind pieces today.
This is a set of, for one person, tablespoon, table fork, table knife, bouillon soup, dessert spoon, dessert fork, dessert knife. Then we have the sandwich fork with 3 prongs, sandwich knife.
Jean-Paul Vogon is 6th generation at his family's 172-year-old business.
Espresso or mocha spoon, grapefruit, egg, ice cream, bouillon soup, small, compote.
My goodness, I'm doing just fine with 2. This is called a fork, and that's a knife.
I have 1 fork and my fingers. That's how. It's good not to be royalty.
It's nice to be the street urchin going through this. Well, it's nice to be able to pop in and see that. By the way, they've got this wonderful heritage of the Habsburgs, and we're in this place right now where you've got all of the silverware and so on. And I was just looking through this book here. It's by Rick Steves. It's called Vienna. It's funny. It's that, Vienna is such a dominant city. I don't even have a book on Austria. It's Vienna and Salzburg, you see. That's
wow. Wow.
And there's a museum in here, which is the Imperial Furniture Collection. And it is so fascinating. You've got all this remnants you're showing us now. But as I read this, bizarre, sensuous, eccentric, or precious, this underappreciated collection is your peek at Habsburg furniture From the Empress's wheelchair, and then I say, to increase her fertility, she was put on a rich diet and became corpulent, to the Emperor's spittoon, all thoughtfully described in English. The Habsburgs had many palaces, but only the Hofburg was permanently furnished. The rest were done on the fly, set up and taken down by a gang of royal roadies. And when the monarchy was dissolved in 1918, all that furniture, 165,000 items, was collected here in this warehouse. And then you can go to this warehouse and visit all of what, like Samantha's showing here. And the cool thing is, the ticket is included when you go to the major Hofburg. It's just a little extra that is included that most people don't even know about. And there's such a wealth of sites. I've never seen these 2 sites that Samantha's going to show us here. But if you have the information, it really behooves you to know what your options are. And then you get to experience that wonderful culture of the Habsburgs.
And yogurt or cocktail spoon.
Can I ask a question? Why do you need a sandwich fork?
Well, when you eat the sandwich with a fork and a knife, then you need a sandwich fork.
It was like he had never heard of that question. It's like...
Exactly. It's like you ask a dumb question, you get it?
Barbarian American, you know, when you cut your sandwich, you want a 3...
And that's not the only thing that makes royalty not like us. Christoph Kirchert is also 6th generation of his family's 205-year-old business.
And who was this made for?
This was made for a princess, like from the inner circle of the House of Habsburg. Do you want to try that?
Really?
In 1831, it became the official title of the purveyor of the imperial court.
Of the imperial?
Of the imperial court. 18 years later, in 1849, that he would become Kammerjuwelier. And that was really the best you could get. That meant that you were the personal jeweler of the emperor.
What do you feel distinguishes what your company does and what your family has stood for?
From the beginning on, it was cutlery.
Cutlery?
Always. Heavy, hand-forged cutlery. And that everything is sterling silver, not just plated and handmade. So it means that every piece is a unique thing and specially made.
Right there in the back.
That's it. We use computers, we use also 3D printing. But in the end, every piece is touched with fingers of my workers. And so I think it's when you use our products, you might feel that the handling is very special.
You know, Samantha, it just occurred to me, my very first trip to Europe when I was 14 years old, I went to Vienna. And while they're hand making the cutlery, I went to a monastery where they were hand making the most expensive pianos in the world, the Bösendorfer.
Bösendorfer, wow.
Yeah, and you know, normally pianos are on a assembly line, but these were birthed in former cells from a monastery. Each one was lovingly made with its own personality. And it's just like that right there. And for the people that live there, it's their heritage, isn't it? It's just, well, yes, that's how we do it. It's quality light. It's really elegant.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to show with these two, because I mean, when you mentioned the furniture museum, I think there's like a leaded glass, a cut glass, yeah, because they do that. I mean, so there was so much, and we knew we wanted to do something like that. And we love the idea that there are people who had these certificates. They were the purveyors. That man's great-great-great-grandfather literally walked into the royal court, talked to the emperor, and designed his jewelry. I mean, that's a phenomenal history. And these are still family businesses that are thriving today because of that handiwork.
To this day. And I've seen Habsburgs, actually the ancestors of the Habsburgs, come into palaces and galleries and so on, and everybody gets all excited and their hearts pitter patter as that heritage lives on. And you brought it home in this bit on your show. Just fantastic.
Kirchert is still in care of some of the crown jewels, having bought a lot of their own pieces back for their family's historical collection.
This piece we only keep for the family.
You loan it out?
They get it if there's a ball or a wedding. They come here and take the pieces and wear it, so it's still worn.
So if I still have ties to the Habsburg Empire, I can come here and borrow my family's jewelry for a special event.
If you marry a Habsburg prince.
Yes. Are there some available still?
Yeah.
If I'm going to be introduced to a Habsburg prince, I might want to bring along a nice gift, something really special.
We have one piece which is very unique, and can you guess what it is? Yeah, there's a handle.
Is it Like a personal candle holder?
It's a chicken leg holder. You can screw in your fried chicken leg.
So
Of course.
the chicken leg goes in here. Here's the drumstick. Here's the meat, and this
And
is
then
how
you-
I eat, so I don't actually touch.
That's it. The problem is you need some.
I want that.
Yeah.
I want to go to Vienna right now and buy 4 drumstick holders. Can you imagine pulling those out for your friends?
I think they would love it. And by the way, like fried chicken is really popular in Vienna. And best fried chicken I've ever had was in Salzburg in their markets and their farmers markets. The best fried chicken I ever had. So you think fried chicken, that's sort of an American thing. No, it's not.
But I've never seen this holder. This is very cool. By the way, your guess was pretty good, an individual candle holder, but
I thought so too.
Need to screw it into you.
Yes. I'm gonna need 4 of these.
No problem.
One man who would have wanted all these treasures to sell on the black market was actually the third man. Debuting in 1949, this movie, set in post-war Vienna, is still considered one of the greatest films of all time, and a museum dedicated to the film creates an experience where history and cinematic history come together.
So Gerhard, how many rooms make up the Third Man Museum?
16 already.
16. And some are small rooms, and then they lead to even smaller rooms. Was that intentional?
It just came like that because we added this part, this part, this part. It was shops before in other places. It's like a labyrinth.
by the way, that's how hotels grow. I mean, he says 16 already, but he would have, these are old 150-year-old apartment complexes, and he will buy his little corner stop, and then this comes available and he'll rent that, and this comes available. And my favorite old hotels, they used to be 8 rooms, then they're 12 rooms, the next year they're 14 rooms. And it just gets bigger and bigger, and you got these labyrinthine floor plans, and this museum's a great example of that.
Even I got lost sometimes. My name is Gerhard Straßschwantner.
Straßschwantner. I mean, I don't want to make fun of his German name, but I counted it up. I'm a friend of Gerhard's. His last name, Sam, is 18 letters, and 15 of those letters are consonants. Straßschwantner. Strassgschw. That's 7 consonants in a row. Andtner. All together now. Straßschwantner. He even has tough time saying it, doesn't he?
Well, you know, with last names like Steves and Brown, we just stand in awe of a last name like that, right? It's like, my name is this so boring. I'm truly in awe with people with really great last names, and he truly has one. It's like,
you know, in World War II, they would identify spies if they caught them to see if they could pronounce a fancy name in one of those languages, and if they couldn't, they would say, "Oh, you're an imposter." So this is, let's just call him Gerhard G.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the owner, the curator. I'm the guy who collected the whole things. I put the whole show together.
What I always loved about the movie is it is not a set. The actors and the police officers are running down the actual rubble of a bombed out city right after World War II.
I use it as a door opener into a time frame of history which here is not known much, unfortunately.
This movie is a cult favorite. I mean, people love this movie.
It was in all the Western countries, in all of them, a huge success, except in Austria.
And so do you have people from all around the world coming to visit you?
Sometimes there are from 10 different countries, people in the same larger room, and they slowly always talk with each other.
What was your first piece that you collected?
These 3 pieces, just behind you, these 3 posters here, I bought in Queens, in New York.
In Queens?
Yes. This re-release from the United States, the American premiere, and this one from Argentina. And I had no idea that it will become this huge, giant collection. In the beginning, the photography really hooked me. These brilliant pictures about this broken city. It's shot right after the war, and it's a period of time which here is blended out. In Austria, we don't talk about things like that. Second World War. And I say to myself always, if not out of history, what else humanity should learn out of?
Post-war Vienna was divided into 5 occupation zones between the USA, the UK, France, and the Soviet Union. The city center was policed by all 4.
And the black market is what the film depicts so well, right? The underbelly, the crooks, right?
It also depicts a chase scene still considered one of the best that took place in Vienna's actual sewer system. About a 10-minute walk from the Third Man Museum is a Hollywood entrance and tour like no other. Yes, I'm going down into the sewer, and you can too, with the Third Man Tours run by the people who know the sewer best, the Department of Sanitation.
Sorry for the spider webs.
The real tour is about an hour and goes through a few locations used in the film, including...
Oh my goodness. Is that the sewer?
Yeah, no.
You take me to the nicest places, Gerhard.
I have nothing else to offer, I'm sorry.
The chase scene came right by here, and because I know you're wondering, yes, it's smelly, but not as smelly as I thought. And then we ended here, a massive tunnel, home to an underground river.
What an amazing space, and I completely remember this from the film. How old is this structure?
This is exactly from 1900 because that little river was open going through the city, and they wanted to have space up for markets, for streets, etc. And they closed that, and that gives this 40 by 25-foot great tunnel.
So Sam, you're right underneath that big market we started the show at, aren't you?
We are right directly underneath it. That's why they created that underground so they could build on top of it. And it's a really cool place. And just to reiterate what Gerhard said, we're not along the sewer anymore. This is fresh water. It smelled fresh. It was a pleasant place.
It's a little river that used to be open air. And then 150 years ago, they're having a big building thing and a boom in Vienna. And they decided to cover it up and create a public space. And that's the market you enjoyed this morning.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, I want to remind you, Gerhard runs this museum. It's open one day a week. It's just his family enterprise. It's open on Saturdays or by appointment. Gerhard is actually a great guide. He works with our tours. I just love that guy. And if you're going to Vienna, it's so important to watch movies that relate to your travels. That'd be a cool article to write or something, just movies that help you appreciate your travels. But if you're going to Vienna, look at The Third Man. It's a movie set in the late 1940s. There's even a theater about 2 blocks from the Opera House, or about 2 blocks from where you are right now, called Berg Kino, Kino, that runs the movie mostly for international visitors every weekend. You can see The Third Man. But this is just a great opportunity to get underground in Vienna.
The Third Man Museum and its locations leave you with a certain feeling.
Do you trust me?
No.
Oh, wow.
But I've got my little gun in my pocket. I've seen the movie.
Vienna is known worldwide as a city of music. And while more famous composers have lived in this capital city than any other, there's one museum that puts them all under one roof.
So Peter, here in Vienna, I always feel like enjoying music is about sitting down at a concert and appreciating it.
Exactly, but here at Haus der Musik, you can just playfully interact with music. Follow me.
House of Music blends traditional music making with state-of-the-art technology, like rolling virtual dice to compose your own masterpiece.
Roll the dice. I have 6. So does that? Oh.
After 1, and of course, for each number on a dice, you get a specific musical sequence.
I'm the harp, and you are a clarinet.
I'm the clarinet.
I love my little cuff, my little cuff on the sleeve. Oh, wow. And what we're creating right now is our own waltz?
Yes. You know, even Mozart and Haydn, they played around with music. They playfully created some kind of pieces like that.
That's such a great point, because we now interpret classical music as very serious. Yes. Right? They had fun with the music.
With each roll of the dice, a stanza is created. Until...
Alles Walzer.
I got to remind people who are watching, this is such a great museum. You could spend hours in here, Sam, couldn't you?
Oh, 5 floors, I believe. And
Yeah.
it's just all types of music, all
And
types.
the great thing to remember is consider it an evening activity. It's open until 10 o'clock. It's a rare museum that's open till 10 o'clock. So you don't need to mess up your see the cathedral and see the Kunsthaus History Museum and all that. You know, see that normal stuff during the day and have fun at night, just enjoying all the creative things like Sam is showing us right here.
I think it's going to be a hit.
The 5 floors provide incredibly diverse and interactive experiences that range from the delightful to the powerful. In one room, you can relive your first musical experience in the womb. From a forgotten experience to one you thought you might never have. Conducting the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. I chose an Austrian fave. It may ring a bell. A computerized baton actually controls the tempo of one of the most celebrated orchestras in the world. Nice, Samantha. You got this. But be prepared. If you mess up, you will receive a dressing down that will put the blue back in the Danube.
Ich muss Ihnen ganz ehrlich sagen, ich spiele 37 Jahre das Neujahrskonzert, ja, bin jetzt der Älteste und habe immer geweint bei diesem Walzer, ja, immer wieder. Aber diesmal, ich kann nur über Sie weinen, dass mir sowas zugemutet wird, dass in meinem hohen Alter noch sowas, also sei ein Skandal eigentlich, nicht das Ganze. Und
Tough crowd.
Tough crowd is right. You were there busy making a TV show. I was there on my last visit, just updating my guidebook. So I had some time to fiddle around. I was standing on that same podium, Sam, and I did my selfie thing with my iPhone, and I wanted to demonstrate how you can go faster and slower and then mess up. And Zubin Mehta, of all people, welcomes you. And then he says menacingly, good luck. So here's my effort of demonstrating how you can actually conduct the Vienna Philharmonic. This is the Vienna Philharmonic conducting Richard Stevens. And we're going to play the Radetzky March.
Gratuliere. Sie werden gleich die einzigartigen Wiener Philharmoniker leiten. Ich möchte Ihnen noch einen nützlichen Tipp geben, wie Sie den Radetzky Marsch am besten dirigieren. Viel Glück. Sie werden das sicher meistern.
Viel Glück. Good luck.
Here we go. Ready? Wiener Philharmonic.
It's like Bugs Bunny there.
Yes.
Entschuldigung, das ist unbrauchbar. Mit Ihrem Gefuchtel irritieren Sie uns ja nur. Versuchen Sie den Rhythmus zu bleiben.
Okay, I'll stick to tour guiding. Happy travels. Jeez, I was just trying to have a little fun.
The string section was not happy with you.
Those guys are pretty serious. Hey, you know, Sam, we were just at the Third Man Museum with you, and I got an email from Gerhard and his wife, Karen, and it just reminded me, little museums like that all over the world, here in the United States and all across the places we love to travel, are in crisis now because of the pandemic. And of course, the Third Man Museum, since you and I were there, has been shut down and no revenue, but they still have to pay their rent. It's very tough. And a friend of mine runs a museum down in Arkansas, and he told me that a good percentage of the museums that are closed during the pandemic will never be able to open again. Gerhard and Karen sent me this video, and they're dancing all alone in their empty museum. I find it very thought-provoking. And I hope that when we watch this, we can remember all the little creative ventures, all the little labors of love all over the world that are in crisis right now, and how we as consumers can keep them going. This is a video clip, just a couple of minutes, with Gerhard and his wife, who are just the proprietors of this museum, that remind us that there's a lot of mom and pops that are in crisis right now. And when we come out of this COVID pandemic, we can patronize them and make sure that carries forward, so we have more in our world than just giant corporations and a Subway sandwich on every corner.
Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana Jerusalema ikhaya lami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami dawo yami ayikholana buso wami awukholana ilondoloze zuhambe nami.
You know, Samantha, we know we're blessed to know people all around the world. We're blessed to know people like Gerhard, and they just love what they do, and we get to introduce people to them. Isn't that a beautiful thing?
Oh, absolutely. It's what makes my job, right? And really shining the light where it doesn't get a tremendous amount of travel love, especially in tiny little museums in Vienna, which is so known for the big guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And right now, our nation has an opportunity to overcome this pandemic. I just, let me just, let's see here. I want to share my screen and just kind of celebrate that I got my first shot, and I'm so excited about it. And I didn't think I'd be happy to be 65, but I just made it, and I got legal for that shot. And when that syringe went into my shoulder, all of my endorphins just did these little happy, giddy flip-flops, you know. And it wasn't a selfish joy, it was a societal joy. You know, humankind is going to whoop this crisis. We're going to get this pandemic under control, but we have to embrace science. And I know there's a lot of people that have their different ideas, and they're inclined to politicize this, but this is not a political issue. I mean, this is just common sense. We need to embrace science, and it's flat out selfish to stand in the way of our community beating this pandemic. This ship can't sail until everyone's on board. We need herd immunity. And when that shot went in here, I thought, I'm doing a good deed for our entire community. And I just hope and pray that as a society, we can recognize this and that we can be traveling again in the future. Because if we don't get in it together, I'm just afraid of the result. There are so many people's passions and dreams on the line. Do you feel
Yeah.
that way, Sam?
Oh, so much so. Actually, I just got the text today on my phone that New York City just opened up the vaccination to 50 and over. I'm 50, so very excited. So tomorrow morning I will be online trying to get my appointment. Next week I see my mom for the first time in 9 months. She hasn't seen her
Oh.
grandchildren either because she's fully vaccinated, fully. And so it's just these little increments that we're making to the point where Gerhard made so beautifully is what he loves is when there are 10 different people from 10 different countries standing in his museum and he knows what they're talking about and they all start to talk to each other.
It's
It's that commonality that we can be from very different places and still have a kindness and an interest towards one another.
And speaking of commonality, this COVID thing is I think it's the first time that literally the entire world is in a struggle together, and we're going to beat it, but we got to get our shots. By the way, I put on my Keep On Traveling t-shirt. I'm wearing it right now. Let me just kind of show it off here. But keep on traveling, baby. And I had it's like my blankie. I was wearing that, and I took my passport with me and whipped it out when I was getting my shot. And I put that on my Facebook page, and all of a sudden, this got like 1 million views. It was one of the few things that have gotten really viral. And then all sorts of people are wearing their Keep On Traveling t-shirt and holding their passport as they get jabbed. And I just decided we're going to sort of stoke that enthusiasm. So right now, our Keep On Traveling t-shirts are half price. We're actually losing money when we sell them. If you want to get your Keep On Traveling t-shirts, it's $10 this month instead of $20. And we'd be happy to equip you so you can go there and celebrate this exciting new opportunity. Hey, I do want to also remind you that when we do this weekly get-together, we try to sort of find new ways to enjoy our travels. And I've made a little game here. And Sam, you didn't see this in the last show, but this is Where's Rick? And it's a game, and it shows the tease of our show. This is the opening of the show where I say, hey, we're doing this, that, and that, and we're in, and then we're pausing for 5 seconds, and you got to guess where we are. And then I say where we are. It could be a drinking game, so grab your Gruner Veltliner, okay? And those of you at home, you can play along with us, but let's see what happens here. These are the open.
Am I playing, Rick? Are you opening up to your, or is everyone playing?
Everybody's playing. We'll just have some fun with this and see what happens. Bonjour, I'm Rick Steves, back with more of the best of Europe. This time, it's yachts, casinos, and fancy villas. Fun in the sun. Where do you think we are?
I know where you are.
Where are we?
Should I say?
Yeah.
Oh, Monaco.
You're about 5 miles from Monaco. Yes.
Ah.
We're at Villefranche. You got it right. We'll give you the word for that one. Here we go. On the French Riviera. Thanks for joining us. Hi, I'm Rick Steves, back with more of the best of Europe. This time, we're enjoying some rich musical culture and a whole lot more. It's the heartland of...
So you're somewhere in Spain.
Somewhere in Iberia.
Yeah.
Portugal. These are fado. This is very obscure. You can't be expected to know this, but fado is the Portuguese fisherwoman's blues. One city in Portugal does it with male singers instead of female, and that is Coimbra. So we are in Coimbra.
Whoa.
Portugal.
Second choice.
Thanks for joining us. Hi, I'm Rick Steves, back with more of the best of Europe. This time, we're rebuilding medieval terraces here on the most beautiful stretch of the Mediterranean coastline. All together now.
Cinque Terre?
You got it, baby! Italy's Cinque Terre.
Hi, I'm Rick Steves, back with more of the best of Europe. This time we're relaxed and getting all cleaned up for it.
By the way, we had a very tough time filming this because every time we stepped in, the camera would completely fog up like my glasses do.
Exactly.
So,
oh gosh, the baths. It wouldn't be Hungary, would it? No.
You know, it looks a lot like Hungary. I thought you might say that, but it's
Turkish. Turkish.
You got it.
Yeah.
Turkish experience in Istanbul. Thanks for joining us.
Bonjour, I'm Rick Steves, back with more of the best of Europe. This time we're exploring some of the best of small town and countryside France.
Oh boy, you're somewhere in Provence. Are you somewhere in Provence?
It's
No.
gorgeous. You're right, it's the south of France.
Okay, so south of
right,
France.
Right next to Provence. This is the Dordogne River Valley. And when I was looking at your Vienna show, I saw you navigating that boat very artfully. This was tricky to do the little canoe with the cameraman there. But we are in, this is, well, I don't want to blow the surprise. I'll tell you where we are in a sec here. It's the Dordogne River Valley. Thanks for joining us. All right. Well, now let's go back with Samantha Brown to...
That's the Danube. I know that one.
You know this one. It's the beautiful blue Danube.
I feel like all the palaces and beautiful ornate architecture of Vienna take all the credit for the city being beautiful, but it's a really natural city as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we are not actually on a man-made lake at all.
Nope. This is called the Old Danube, the Alte Donau, and it's kind of like a still arm of the Danube.
We are still in Vienna,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely, and almost in the center of the Vienna, even though people wouldn't call it the center, but it somehow is. It feels like the heart of Vienna, the Danube. I'm Medea Trischler. I'm originally from New York City, but for the last 13 years, I've been lucky enough to call Vienna my home, and I'm working here and raising 2 beautiful sons, and I can't imagine going back to the States anytime soon. This is what I love. The Viennese love this feeling of being on vacation even when they're at home. And every weekend, every day after work or whatever in the summer, you kind of get to have that moment. If you come someplace like this, or if you sit in a park, or if you sit on the canal or something, it's basically like perpetual vacation. And all along here, like once you get kind of past the houses, these are all like little beaches. This is where they go to swim, or people just sunbathe there, and there's playgrounds. But then the further out you go, there's just beach after beach after beach.
And this is what they talk about when you hear that Vienna is one of the most livable cities in the world.
Everything is about kind of taking your time and enjoying that time.
Slowing down.
Yeah, slowing down.
So I read that there are hiking trails that lead from the city to mountains where there are vineyards where you can drink, and yet you are still in the city. Is that true?
Well, we're going to find out if that's true in just a moment. We're going to go to the Vienna woods. I do want to remind people, we're just coming down the home stretch of the show. If you have any questions for Samantha, please type them into the Q&A widget there, and then Julianne will help MC that, and we'll have a chance for some questions with Sam as she finishes off that bottle of Gruner Veltliner.
I'm getting ready.
How's it going with your food there, Sam?
It's really good. I've made a huge dent on my potato salad. My meat is gone, and the pretzel's pretty much finished too.
You know, when I was
now I'm on a dessert.
The Naschmarkt that you were talking about, this really is the vitamin bomb that the man, you know, he had these barrels of kraut that was fermenting, sour kraut, cabbage. And I was just going to bite into that. But I was going to ask you, you know, we both have to eat on camera. And I tend to take big bites and then talk blah, blah. My producer gave me a very good bit of advice. Take a little tiny bite, and then you can talk on. And I was going to say, we're going to see you just in a minute in a wine garden up in the foothills of the Alps. By the way, we're going to see this in a minute. I just love the way from Vienna, the foothills of the Alps start, and it's a symphony of mountains that arcs all across Europe until it plunges into the Mediterranean at Marseille. From Vienna to Marseille, Alps, all that culture. Isn't it beautiful? Oh, baby. But when you're eating, and you do a lot of that, what is your trick when you're on camera to eat elegantly?
Try not to choke. That's just going through my head the entire time. I am terrible at it. And I'm never comfortable when I have to eat on camera, because all of a sudden I'm very aware that the camera's on me. Yeah. And I never take tiny bites. That's a brilliant direction. I don't know why I never thought of that. Yeah. Well, one, I just want to be a real person. So I don't eat tiny bites in real life. So I'm kind of a messy eater, and I just put everything. So I just kind of, I want to be natural on camera, but that's not and I never know how to explain food. I don't know how to say anything other than I love it or that was really good. Like, there are people who just can wax poetically about flavors melding and this and that. And I am not that person. So we usually go to VO to explain the taste of things.
I think your show and my show gets more viewers than those other shows. I mean, they're the sophisticates, but most people are just like us. They're having a good time with the food and they don't know how to explain exactly why they're enjoying it, but we can enjoy it and we can enthuse about it.
I totally agree. It's like people, there's no expectation of me and I'm just being who I am. And, I'm not good at it, so I'm not going to do it. So I'm just going to really enjoy it.
One thing I'm really good at is doing an on camera. That's when it's really, you got to be on your best game, talking to the camera after a couple of drinks. I think, I've done a lot of on cameras in the last 30 or 40 years. And my very best ones are after I've had a few glasses of wine. And I think it is because you're just disarmed. You're just relaxed. You're who you are.
Yeah, that is the opposite for me. I really have to watch it. I really do. Because my mind goes, for me, I enjoy in real life, enjoy a glass of wine at the end of the night. I don't have to think after. So that's just psychologically where I am after I drink wine. So if it's during the day and I'm on camera, bam, that's it. You're not getting anything out of me for the rest of the day.
I can see those drapes being drawn right now on your brain as you skip the rest of your Gruner Veltliner.
So I know, exactly.
Part of my, maybe it because I practiced, because for 25 years I was a tour guide and I was taking the group out to dinner, and we're having a lot of fun and I want to have party with everybody, but I've got to be together enough to get people back to the hotel in one piece. Yeah. And you just learn how to nurse your drink and enjoy it, but still be responsible.
Yes, true.
Oh man, but this Gruner Veltliner is great. We're gonna drink it with you just up in the hills here, a different kind of Viennese wine. But to me, this is just. I don't think connoisseurs say pop rocks. Remember those little candies that exploded in your mouth?
Oh sure, I have some downstairs in my kitchen right now. I have 8-year-old twins. Of course, I have pop rocks.
This is like pop rocks for adults.
Yeah, it really is. And what I love about the Gruner Veltliner is that it's not an expensive wine. You can get a really good one around $12-15. You do not have to spend a ton of money. Not like a Pinot Noir or anything like that, or like a big cab or something like that. It's really a nice, approachable wine. So wherever you go, see if they have some. They always have one, and they're all good.
When you go to Austria, they'll have 5 or 6 on the menu. In that case, it's not expensive anyways. Go top end. Instead of $8, go $12 and see what happens. Another good thing is it comes in a 1 liter bottle instead of a 75 centiliters bottle, but that's just a budget trick. Okay, let's go back right now to Samantha Brown enjoying the finale of Vienna up in the Vienna woods. Here we go.
It's very true, but even more unbelievable when you get there.
I'm starting to think that we are not in Vienna anymore. It's like Dorothy. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
No, we're very, very much in Vienna. This is probably one of the most quintessentially Viennese settings that you could actually be in. The countryside and the city itself sort of bleed into one another.
An absolute must while in Vienna is visiting the casual wine taverns, or Heurigen. Now, a simply different version of this Austrian classic is owned by 4th-generation winemaker Fritz Weininger, whose family has been making wines since the 18th century. But for this joyful setting, we have an emperor to thank.
Dating back about 250 years, Emperor Joseph II gave the right to the wine producers to sell their own wine directly to the consumer. Wine producers opened their houses, put a fir bush in front of their door, and people knew it's open, we can have wine, and we sit down and enjoy some wine. And we are only allowed to open from mid of August until end of October, because this building, what you see here in the back, is not a restaurant. Officially, it's a garage for the tractor.
Okay. How many people, Fritz, come to you by way of car or hiking?
More than half come by foot. They walk up here.
From the city?
Yes. Well, maybe from a parking spot on the footsteps of the hill.
I was told that we would come here and have wine in a vineyard that is not only a part of Vienna, but a wine that is of Vienna.
Yes, absolutely. That's a gemischter Satz, a Wiener gemischter Satz. That means it is a wine from one vineyard that consists from different grape varieties. A minimum of 3 have to be planted in the vineyard, grow together, and have to be harvested all at the same time. This is the typical wine of the Vienna region. Most of the vineyards in the world are single varietal, but not in Vienna.
Cheers.
Cheers. Prost.
Prost. Prost. Oh. It's fresh, but has a beautiful acidity.
Yes.
That's what I love about Austrian wine.
Absolutely.
Now that was really good, Sam.
I nailed it. I'm gonna have to tell you that was a beautiful moment where I just came right through because I love Austrian wines. So there I go. I was able to explain the wine.
There's sometimes you're an actor. I'm not an actor, but you just gotta experience it and let yourself loose. But you love that wine, and then you nailed the description. Bravo.
Having the luck to do this within the Viennese city limit is like a duty that we take really serious. And I hope that we can be one of those generations that really protect it and save it for the future.
If you come here, obviously you want to see the palaces and obviously you want to eat schnitzel, but Vienna is actually really much more than that. It is one of the greenest cities in the entire world, and it is sitting on the Danube and just kind of looking at the sunset. If you want to really, really visit the city and experience what the lifestyle is like, all you need to do is take a deep breath, find a place to park by some green, and just spend your day like that.
If you come to Vienna, you can expect fantastic museums, fantastic culture, many, many centuries of Habsburgs, glorious rural reign. But here is one museum that encapsulates a very, very short period of time. And this is so important that this period of time we remember.
A traveler to Vienna will find phenomenal food. And you will see that it has a big advantage to be in such a small country because we don't have mass production. It's everything very small and a lot of love is put in.
When a city overwhelms you with its history and traditions. When a museum reminds you that to appreciate music, we must play with it. When people show you that the most important part of their city is the friendliness and ease that happens every day, that is when we share a love of travel. And that's why Vienna, Austria is a place to love.
Yay!
Samantha, that was great. Thank you so much for taking us to Vienna.
Well, it is a world-class city, and I know if people haven't been there, it is on everyone's bucket list. And I know that's a big travel trend that will be happening in the next few years as we roll out of this pandemic, is to not put the travel off anymore. And I think this city should be on people's list. That's for sure.
You know, Paris is closer to us, and Vienna is the eastern counterpart of Paris, and everything that Paris has got, Vienna has too. I mean, Vienna had the great monarchy, just like Paris, and so much culture, so much art, so much cuisine, so much love of life. Thank you very much. Hey, Julianne, it's time now for some questions, I think, from our viewers.
All right. Thank you, Rick and Samantha. That was a super fun show. We have a lot of great questions, but first, could we have a word from our sponsor?
Well, of course we can. And before I give a word from my sponsor, Sam, what should we know about all the work that you are doing?
Oh, well, please tune into Places to Love Season 4, which begins April 1st, the weekend, not April Fool's, the first weekend of April. We've got 5 great shows coming to you. Support the show, please, and support public television as well.
Great, thanks. And it's good, Sam, it's great to have you in public television. I'm so glad you've jumped over to our gang where we can assume an attention span, respect people's intelligence, and bring programming driven not by a passion for keeping advertisers happy, but a passion for reaching out and embracing the world. That's my pledge pitch.
It worked.
It works. Hey, and a word from our sponsor. I work with Julianne and 98 other travelers, and we are Rick Steves Europe. It's been a tough year. It's been a very tough year. That's why we're just getting through it somehow. But we're keeping it together. We got 100 people on our payroll. We got no revenue, but we got lots of travels ahead of us. That's for sure. We're keeping our team together. We're investing in our content. We've got our guides in Europe. We've got our hotels and bus drivers primed and ready to go. And we've got about 15,000 people on their wish lists. They've signed their names up to tours starting next fall for our tour program. This is 2020, but we've got 2021 and 2022. People always ask, when are we going to be traveling again? I'm hoping the fall of 2021. Worst scenario I'm thinking is the spring of 2022, but we are on a glide path to normalcy now with these vaccinations. And if we can just get our act together, and if Europe can also, we will be traveling once again. I got to say, next Saturday is a big day for us because we're having our annual alumni party. And normally we have 30,000 people taking our tours, 30,000. And we have a couple of thousand that actually come to Seattle for these alumni parties. Next Saturday, we only had 207 people, 207 that took our tours last year in 2020. And that was just when COVID hit. And we're going to have a virtual alumni party this Saturday. But we're hoping that next year we're going to be back up and running and things will be going great. So if you want to know anything more about what's going on with Rick Steves Europe and our wonderful tour program, just stay in touch. Check us out on the website. Julian, let's have some questions for Sam, I hope.
Okay, great. Yeah, our first question, Samantha, do you remember the first time that you met Rick?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It was in Chicago. I forget what the date was, but we do these travel and adventure shows where we speak. And I met him for the first time. We were down like in some, corporate convention hotel, but they had a breakfast buffet and there was Rick Steves. And I was so nervous. I could not believe it. And I think I went up to you and I was speaking for the first time. I was meeting Rick Steves for the first time. And I was so nervous and he was so mean to me. And he said, "Who are you? And who do you think you are?" But no, he was so lovely. And we've had a close friendship ever since. So I think I started doing those 10 years ago. So maybe I've known you for 10 years. I believe.
Sam, it's kind of a gig for us. They pay us well and we go out and we give talks to crowds that come to these travel shows in big cities all over the United States. And, there's all the people selling their cruises and their tours. And you and I enthuse about what we do well. We travel. And just right now, it occurred to me, a nice secondary benefit is that you and I get to meet all the people whose attendance can help draw a crowd. I wouldn't cross paths with you normally otherwise. And it's a chance for us after we've done our work all day long, we go out for dinner and have a drink and get to know each other. And it's a lot of fun.
And then the travel kind of community, we're actually all really good friends or just colleagues that enjoy each other. I know like Pauline Fromer from Fromer's Guides. She's
Arthur
wonderful.
Fromer's
She's
daughter.
always there. Yeah, Arthur Fromer's daughter.
Yeah.
Just a great group of people that I truly miss seeing this year and cannot wait to see all of you in this fall.
It's tough for that industry. I mean, our friends in that travel show business.
The convention,
It's very difficult. Yeah. Hey, by the way, let me just jump in, Julian, because I wanted to ask Sam a couple of questions. First of all, I know I've known you before you had kids. Now you got twins. Get us up to date on your family, please.
They're phenomenal. 8 years old. I've been traveling with them since they were 2 months old. And it was a really difficult, I mean, you remember traveling with young kids. There's nothing like it. And it just is so worth it. So they go everywhere with us, not everywhere because mom's working, but they went with me to Vienna. They joined my husband and I and my crew. And they loved Vienna and got to play in the parks. And they went to the Danube and went on those beaches. And so they're great little travelers. And I'm just so proud of them.
I remember those days, and your kids are what, third grade now or something like that?
Second
grade.
Close.
We took our kids out of school every year in April to go traveling, and the teachers were enthusiastic about it. And they missed 2 or 3 weeks of school, but they were in Europe, and it was so cool. If you're a parent, to me, it's expensive, but if you can afford to take your kids on the road with you, it's a beautiful part of parenting, I think. Another kid in your family might be your husband, Kevin, and your husband. You guys are doing a pretty good job of mixing.
He is a younger man, Rick, but not that young.
Okay. You're mixing up having your husband being also your producer and like your business manager.
Yes.
How does that work?
We call him the manager. It works brilliantly. It's amazing to have someone who loves you, who you love, who actually looks out for you in business, as well as being, a real advocate for who I am. And he was the one who said, hey, you don't need to be with a network to do this. We could go out on our own. I've got your back. Let's go. And so he's been not just by my side, but sometimes in the front, kind of pushing people out of the way to make sure that our show gets seen and that we got to do what we wanted to do. So very lucky to be married to a great man.
He seems like a great dad, and I've seen him behind the scenes in television, really doing a great job. So that's a good partnership. Julianne, I just busted in there, so let us go a couple minutes longer and we'll have a few more questions because I want to be sure we get to good questions.
Okay, sure. The next question is from Allison, and it kind of made me chuckle when I read it, but she just asked, which one of you has more passport stamps? And she thought maybe Rick because he's older.
What do you think, Sam?
I don't know how many, I don't know numbers in my life. I don't know how many miles I've traveled. I don't know how many stamps. I'm not a numbers person. So I have a lot of stamps, but certainly this year kind of depleted. Putting on old. I've got a lot of empty pages. So I don't know how many stamps I have.
I don't want to get stamps, Julianne. I don't want to get stamps because the more stamps you have, the more they look at you at the borders. So in the old days, we used to just try to get stamps. I remember I would take 25 passports from all the people on our bus, and we would choose the cutest girl on the tour would go in and sweet talk the guard into, because they didn't want to do it, but stamping all the passports because that's kind of a headache. Everybody wanted the stamp on their passport, but these days, if you seek out those stamps, you have to get a fatter passport or one of those accordion extensions, and you don't want that. So I don't try to get more stamps on my passport.
Really? Oh my gosh. I remember when I was in Korea and they don't give you stamps. I'm like, what? Like,
it's a disappointment.
I know. Like a kid not getting a sticker. I know, I come all this way and I don't get a lollipop? What do you mean you don't stamp?
There's certain stamps that are really exotic. I mean,
they're beautiful.
You get everything. Yeah.
Okay. And the next one, when we
That's interesting. You just did a kind of a thing. I've never talked with another traveler about stamps on a passport, but it is an interesting issue, isn't it?
Yeah, I love stamps.
Okay.
Okay, and when we screen Rick's show on Monday nights, we normally never have anyone complimenting Rick's clothing, but tonight we have loads of compliments about Samantha, your clothes. And let's see who was wondering. Sarah was wondering, how do you pack so many cute clothes when you're traveling?
So here's I have a stylist who I've been traveling with for 15 years. She's been in my life, Christina Burns. She's phenomenal. She buys all my wardrobe. She knows the scenes we're doing. She'll do all the research, what I look good in. And she brings all the wardrobe with her and she takes it all the way back and she takes care of it and washes it. And then we talk about, she even has a mannequin. She puts things on a mannequin. She sends me pictures. She's like, do you like this outfit? I think this is where the TV world is a little different for men and women. Women are expected to look a certain way, and men like Rick can wear khakis his entire life and still have a career.
I feel so inadequate.
I would be gone 10 years ago if I wore khakis every day.
Wow, you have somebody who knows what looks good on you.
Oh, she I don't even I just don't even have to try it on. I know if she gets it, I just wait that day. We put it on and she just knows, and she knows she'll make sure that I stand out. And this is why I have so many dresses on in that show. When you pointed out at the beginning, is we try to do an outfit for every single scene because sometimes we don't know how we're going to put them together.
Yeah.
So where we had one problem was where I wore that dress and I was in the sewer, which I was a little overdressed for the sewer, totally. And we weren't planning on that. It was a continuity issue that we thought was going to go into a scene. And we just, so I was a little overdressed for that, but so there isn't continuity issues with my wardrobe. We're in a different outfit for every scene. So.
Whoa, I'm just really suddenly.
Yeah, men hosts are in awe of this. They can't believe women go through this.
That's amazing, because Simon and I get together, my producer Simon, and we unrumple my shirts on the bed at the hotel. We go, well, which one are you going to wear? You know, and it's just like kind of pathetic.
We know. It's totally obvious how you put your outfit together, Rick.
I never even knew there was something called hairspray until 20 years into my work. And then I was unable to get it on camera done in Stockholm because the wind kept blowing my hair up.
Yeah, of course.
There is this stuff. I mean, I guess you spray it on, your hair stays in place in the wind, right? So I went into a department store and I bought some hairspray and we go, this is brilliant. Whoa, hairspray. And it's been our godsend ever since. I can get on cameras done twice as fast, Samantha, with hairspray.
There you go. There you welcome to our world.
Welcome. Okay. All right.
The next question is from Cynthia, and she asks, Samantha, do you have any advice for women traveling solo?
I do, and that is to absolutely do it. Don't hesitate. The world is a friendly place. I know personally, and I've traveled all over Asia, all over Latin America, all over America. There are places that I have not felt safe, and I've just made sure. I always tell women, just trust the hairs on the back of your neck. It doesn't matter what a guidebook has said. It doesn't matter what someone said. Oh yeah, you'll be fine if you walk in that direction. Always be aware, always, of your surroundings. And when you feel something in your gut that something isn't right, just turn around and go the other direction. Always stay around people where there's lots of people. But I have had nothing but just fantastic experiences with people. And when you are alone, and I think this accounts for being a man too, when you are a solo traveler, you don't have like a partner in crime that kind of keeps you like, with each other. You open up to everyone, and people open up to you, and they really want to take you under their wing in a really good, positive way. So I just highly recommend it. Don't hesitate.
Samantha, of course, we don't want to get people out of there. I've been really cautious about, in my enthusiasm of getting people out in danger, we don't want to get people out of what is safe. But I've always felt that if a woman is safe, it's a personal thing. If a woman feels safe in an American big city after dark, they would feel safe in a European or Pacific Rim big city after dark also. I mean, because that accommodates people who are more risk averse than others. If you're comfortable in Chicago or San Francisco or Seattle after dark, do you think it's fair to say you should be comfortable in Copenhagen or Berlin or London after dark if you use common sense?
Yeah, I would. I sometimes I feel a little, just because it's not what I know. So it's just, but I think it's it's just a comfort zone, and it's just awareness of what's around you. That's the most important thing. Absolutely. And always, if you're leaving your hotel, check in with the front desk and say, I'm leaving, I'm going for a walk. This is where I'm walking, making, and then also there's a timestamp, right? She was here then. And that sort of thing. It just helps, don't have earbuds in, do not do that. But again, I'm putting more fear into it. It's just it's just a good place to be. I would say I don't really walk around at night, even if I was, I usually got back before it was totally dark.
But like you say, be aware of what neighborhood you're in. You can be in a neighborhood that's well lit and well populated and it's perfectly safe, but you can't, with your wanderlust, venture into an area and suddenly you realize,
exactly.
Well, get the heck out of there. Go back to where all the people are.
Yeah.
Okay, and it seems like there are quite a few similarities between your travel style and your shows, but are there any ways in which the shows differ or your travel styles differ kind of fundamentally?
I wear a lot more dresses.
That's true. In public.
I think where our styles are, Rick's approach is just so exceptional in its history, of its understanding history, which we so need to know. Like Gerhard said, if not out of history, how else are we going to learn, right? And so I love that approach of what happened in the past and these buildings. What does it mean now? I am more in the now. We don't spend a lot of time in historical monuments, or if we do, we try to put it like, what does it mean currently for what we're going through now? But I love how I think Rick's approach is more, let's learn from the past as we move forward. And mine is slightly different from
I think you've nailed it there, because I really just want to be a history and art teacher, and Simon has to rein me in because it's got to be, good TV. And you're in the moment and you meet all these people. And it's interesting to me because when I was looking at your show, Samantha, we did a show I love on Vienna, and I love your show on Vienna, and you can put them side by side and there's no overlap. It's amazing. There's absolutely no overlap. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we're very compatible in that way. Absolutely. And Vienna, of course, is a city where we could have done 10 more episodes in Vienna and have never. But don't you feel like if even when you go back to do episodes, there are things you cannot not do just because people are like, well, wait a minute, how could you? So even though we were in Vienna, we had to do something about the Habsburgs. You can't you can't just avoid that whole 600-year reign, and be like, we're just doing what's happening today. Like I get it. History is really important and it informs the city as it is now.
Sometimes it's my challenge to do the Czech Republic without Prague, or to do the Louvre without the Mona Lisa, or to do Amsterdam without Anne Frank. And just to prove that at that disadvantage, with that handicap, the city is still blockbuster. I mean, and that's what we've learned is you can go back to these places, and the more you know about what there is to see and experience, the more you'll be able to reap the benefit of that. And these cities, you can go back to them all your life and enjoy them, as you proved right now in Vienna.
Well, can I ask you a question? I mean, you make such a good point, because when you started, Rick, you really were people's reference, right? They were seeing a place for the first time. There was even when I started, there wasn't the internet to go to get this information at your fingertips. Have you changed in your approach of what you show, knowing that, well, everyone knows where the Anne Frank house is or what it's about? I don't have to do that anymore. Are there things you don't do anymore now that there's the internet and everyone has a map on their phone? How have you changed?
Yeah, that's a good question. A lot of times we'll give a tip of the hat to this one, because if you don't say it, people wonder, well, why didn't you say that? So you acknowledge, yes, there is this, but there is that. And this is going to be really crowded and frustrating and overwhelming. But this one is underlooked and underappreciated. And you go there and you have a much easier time. So that's part of traveling going forward. In this day and age of everybody going with what TripAdvisor says or where you're supposed to get your Instagram shot, everybody is hurt. We're looking for herd immunity. We already have herd mentality when it comes to travel.
Well said.
Goes to the same place. I mean, it's almost embarrassing how everybody just stampede. You got to have shoulder pads to safely see the Mona Lisa these days, And there's a lot more to that museum than the Mona Lisa. And I love to shine lights on other things, but you do have to acknowledge that that's the one that is the big marquee attraction. Yeah.
What always amazed me about traveling was, travelers go to the exact same place, and all you have to do is go in a 10-minute walk in any direction, and now you are totally where the locals are. So if you're in St. Mark's Square in Venice and everyone is there, and you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't even enjoyable. All you have to do is walk in 10 minutes and you're just out of it. And now you've got places to yourself, or you go across to is it the Giudecca? Is that how you pronounce that? The
Giudecca.
The Giudecca. Okay. And now you've got a Venice that no one really explores, just because it was somewhat difficult. So I found that as a traveler, like, you could actually head to where everyone and their selfie sticks goes and just walk from that direction, and you'll find a totally different place.
And it is human nature when you step out of your hotel. If all the tourists are going down to the river,
of course,
you're going to follow them. But I did that in Mostar in Bosnia. I was stepping out of the hotel. Everybody's going down to the river. I thought, I'm going to go the other direction. And I had one of the most beautiful experiences ever, because nobody went that way. And that's a choice we have to make as travelers.
Yeah. And it's an easy choice. I think people think the off the beaten path is hard to get to or takes a lot of effort. No, it's just like you said, Rick, everyone was going right and I went left.
It's that easy.
And that's it. Yeah.
That's great. Julianne.
Okay, so our next question, quite a few people were wondering, have you both ever considered doing a crossover show where Samantha would go on your show, Rick, and Rick, you'd go on Places to Love?
It's got to happen. It has to happen. I mean, he doesn't even have to come on my show. I'll go on your show, or we'll do something fun together.
I think it would be a blast. That would be fun. That would be, well, I think that's something to stay tuned for. So I think we are ready to wrap it up. Sam, I want to thank you so much for bringing your joy of travel into our little family here. I want to remind everybody that is watching that we are getting together every Monday night. Next Monday, we're celebrating Easter. After that, we're going to go to a blitz of my favorite food tours in Europe. And after that, I put together a special show on offbeat highlights. Offbeat. I mean, it was so fun to think of all the places I can take you that you'd never dream of going. every Monday night, we're traveling together. Thanks again, Samantha Brown. Thanks for all of you for enjoying this evening. And I'll just say happy travels. Sam, do you got that Gruner Veltliner?
I do. I got a little sip left. Little one left
All
for
right.
you. Happy
Julian,
travels,
thank you.
Rick. Thank you for having me.
Happy travels, even if we're just staying home for a while.